Hello everyone. This is the second video I've made today. This is Brian Jennings, the critical sorcerer, the millennial dragon, the psychic scientist. This channel exists as a kind of therapy to process my diseased relationship with Quentin Tarantino. I'm a writer as well as an actor, and I wrote him a series of letters about playing the lead in the movie Critic, which led to him canceling the film last April, which also set into motion a series of dominoes that have cascaded out into the present moment that we find ourselves in. Right? Quentin Tarantino is a powerful psychic clairvoyant, one of the most powerful in the world, damn sure the most powerful in Hollywood. I am the most powerful clairvoyant of the millennial generation. Right? And so it has degenerated into this just really ugly thing. And I've written a novel about it, right? I'm a writer, novelization of my experiences. It's called Building a Coven, as in a witch's coven. Right? It's not my idea, but it's a perfect title. If he continues to play these games in the way that he does, right, where he sits with his arms crossed and says, no, I'm famous, I can be as evil as I want. Even if he pays me, right, I have to have my legion of clairvoyance just like he has his. And we all just have this sick stalemate, right? Where he pays people to watch me and I pay people to watch him, right? And anytime any one of us does anything evil, we put it back on the other person, right? And so why do I say that? Why do I say that, right? I acknowledge that at Jackie Brown, right? De Niro Con, $500 ticket, right? I was in the front row. That I blew it, right? Per his standards, right? If I wanted to be in Quentin Tarantino's world, right, I had to submit my mind to him, right? And I didn't want to do that, right? In that moment, I wanted him to take my letter, right? I wanted him to look me in the eye. Like, that's all he had to do, was just look me in the eye. Right? I wanted him to say, got any questions, because he wanted me to question him about cinema speculation, which is behind this book right now. Right? I had 10 questions prepared. Right? But rather than do that, right, he stuck his nose up at me and he turned his back on me. That's what he did. And so I said, oh, okay, so you just want me to bark like a dog. You think that I'm a show pony. And so I turned my back and I left, right? He put nothing tangible into our relationship. And so he got nothing tangible out of it, right? And so what I'm saying is that after that, right, he entered into a covenant, right, with several other people, his wife, at least one other woman, perhaps a guy, maybe not a guy, right? But perhaps it's all him, I do acknowledge that, right? On the highest levels of intellectual criticism, right? To overwhelm my mind, to compel me to madness and suicide, so that he could have my scene for free, right? And there's no other way to interpret it, right? That the novel, right, we're reading through the novel, all of these things didn't occur for him to have to worry about me for the next 20 years. No. This wasn't retribution to say, you hurt me, now I hurt you. This was, you hurt me, now I destroy you, I kill you, right? There's no other way to interpret that. That he expected me to blow my brains out months ago, right? And that's why he's kicking an untitled film project, Production Weekly, not me, right? With Stacey Sher, with Sony, right? In December of this year. Because he failed to compel me to blow my brains out, right? So it's the same movie, right? It's not a different movie, it's the same movie, right? So before I begin on my novel, I'm going to continue where I left off on my novel. One of the last things that I was touching on was his father-in-law, right? The late Sitka Pick, right? That's one of the worst ones for me, for sure. To involve the dead in such a way, right? That he led me to believe, right? That his father-in-law, and as far as his personality is concerned, perhaps he is really a lot like the way that he portrayed him. I don't say that that's wrong. Very sage, wise man, right? Old world Kabbalistic rabbi type, right? That's how I put it in my book, right? But what I'm saying is that he's been dead for several years, right? And so in that way, right, he debased his immortal soul, right? That he transmuted his immortal soul as an elemental for sorcery, right? That's what you want to do with your father's memory, Daniela. That's quite depraved, right? And of course, nothing matters to the nihilist, right? That if there is no answer to how life came to be, and mind is purely accidental and haphazard, then it doesn't matter what you do. And on the coldest levels of intellectual rigor, it doesn't. The removal of hell is the removal of heaven, right? So the atheists are right on some level, right? Lights out. That's it. That's what Richard Dawkins says. And he's right. Right? But what he fails to elucidate in his bullshit anecdotes, right, is that all that is divine is all that is unchanging. Right? Therefore, right, there's two ways of perceiving the void. Right? That the void of space is either emptiness, nothingness, right? That's the reductionist, materialistic, scientific view, right? Or, right, it's the perpetual pregnancy of God's omniscience. Right? And so that's what I see when I meditate and look into mind's eye. What Quentin sees, I can't say. But we're reading through the novel, right? We're talking about the writing, right? We're talking about the nature of reality, right? This condition is hitting a fever pitch with both of us, right? That there's this palpable evil hovering over me. Because, right, he doesn't want me to live, right? He didn't do any of this, right, for us to hover over each other in this way for the last 20 years of his life, right? That now he's reckoning with my strength in a palpable way, and all he can do is be evil, right? So, I'll pick up where I left off, right? The father-in-law is bullshit. The daughter is bullshit. It's all bullshit, right? Right? So, building a coven. I look forward to singing Kathy's song to Elizabeth. She tells me, "Call me Lisa." And I say, "Maybe I'll call you Elizabeth because I'm your husband." I am nervous, unsure of my every breath. Taking, hopefully, our last 30-minute break at Texarkana, I ruminate on our conversations, myself and my spiritual family. The bus departs. This nice black hillbilly motherfucker asked me, "What kind of work you do?" I told him, "I'm an actor now, but I've done everything. Why do you ask?" He got excited and asked me if I was in the union. And I said, no, I hadn't had to join. He talked about his credits ecstatically, however meager. He's shy. But we share that love of show business, of chasing the dream. Lisa proceeds to exclaim, "It's so fucking cool you told him you're an actor. I'm your leading lady and your primary." To which Willow decried, "We're both primaries. You can't have all of them." And when I went inside and bought a soda and a honey bun, Lisa said, "He's a soda jerk." To which Annabella corrected with, "He's a sugar jerk. He's so sweet he gobbles it up and transmutes it into love." She, Annabella, also chides Willow, who laments her vacuous absentia where foresight should reside. She tells her that I saw, and it's totally true, Willow and our marriage as being even better than if I had done everything right at Tribeca. Because it's true, she is beautiful. Not in any way more beautiful than Lisa or Hazel, but a fox nonetheless. And perhaps she could have worn me down. Perhaps not. I have my own ivory tower. All she had to do was relax and see the future like I did. And now she tells me how upset she is. Everyone around me doom scrolls. and I am perturbed by a piece of slice stuck in one of my fucked up teeth. It is as obnoxious as Willow's treatment of me. Something necessary, being food, love, if pointless in lingering to cause pain, malevolence. And Willow, in her frustration, assures me that I'll see. That she isn't pointless, that she's the primary, though now the title is tenuous, to which Lisa says, "Yes, I'm going to steal him from you." And Willow replies, "No, you're not." And Clay says, "Gosh, Ethan, don't worry." I continue thinking of the food stuck in my fucked up tooth. Consider the metaphor, and I worry. Clay says not to worry, that it's obvious they are both totally in love with me. Q says, "It's obvious to everyone except Willow. You could have 100 more if you wanted. But if there's only one more, maybe that's better." No, maybe, it's better. I'd rather not dilute the fountainhead in the spirit of too much of a good thing. I love too much, and however many there are equals however many opportunities for heartache and betrayal. 3. The Holy Trinity is a lot, and you always expected 0. What's the difference dividing 0 and 1? Eternity? 3 divine goddess eternities who all need me to need them. And I want to love them all madly. Alistair tells me not to overthink it, that I see too far. I tell him, I'm trying not to overthink it, which is true, though difficult. I could keep writing, and I will, to be sure, but I'll try to read on the Canterbury Tales. Read a couple lines about the bronze horse and the squire's tale before looking out the window and recognizing for the second time now the desert vistas of the west are miles away. Farmland, green grass, forests dominate the landscape beneath the robin's egg blue sky with an even depth of distribution of the clouds. Cirrus with cumulonimbus stacked chaotically. These are the scenes of my youth, adolescent, and young adult life. However, now I am only passing through. My father in New York and my leading lady beckon me north from here. And though devoid of resources, I know what I am doing, being still and listening. Thereby am I not devoid of hope. However dangerous that precipice is, or rather, the drop out of hope into the present. So often our expectations exceed reality, but not this time, I am assured. 12:10, 25 minutes now, from 12:11 to the last perfect minute of the day, and 4 hours until arrival in Memphis. I considered taking kratom, but opted to finish the Subutex Glint gave me. Better to not drag it out, do the drugs, enjoy the buzz, never hoard or let it hover over my psyche. This is abuse. I abuse kratom, which is bad enough, if absolvable by being organic, like weed or raw opium. But today, I'll use Subutex and ruminate on the differences and the feeling neurologically I have not had for at least 7 years now. To which Clay says, "Wow, he really is clean." To which I said, "I told you I was." To which he says, I know. As I snorted the drugs in the bathroom, I ruminated on all of it. And Alistair pleaded again that I see too far, and not to overthink it. I'm trying. Alistair mentioned earlier that he knows I am excited. And it's true, I am. Which Clay assures me that it's all real, and he laments that I worry. They are also interested in sadistic psychic warfare. Q tells me they're all moved by my devotion and strength, and Clay assures me, no more suffering. And Alistair cries and begs me to forgive him and call him father. That it's just a couple months, and that I'll be back better than ever. That I have these months with Lisa on the stage, then we unite for the first time for the movie. Then we all come east for New Year's Eve, and then the premiere. Annabella tells me how beautiful it is as I sob, and I agree. It does not get any more excellent or epic. Period. I mean, missed period. I mean, what a fucking horse slut bitch. 4 minutes to perfection. I received a call from a restricted number which I answered, hoping any member of my coven had a shred of bravery. I answered the call and waited silent until with the phone to my ear until a woman said hello inquisitively, and I became excited. though she discussed wait times, and that she would be somewhere in an hour, and I knew then she wasn't mine. Everything's good, Clay tells me. The season is changing, and as the minute strikes perfect, I pray that is true. That it is all true. That Alistair sees my strengths now, not my weaknesses, and really has set up Hamlet, and perhaps the Coven, my Coven, but definitive Hamlet, to give me something to focus on that will make me happy, while this hideous carbuncle settles into permanence. And in a few months, after Hamlet, I'll come back to help Alistair make The Journalist. You're the guy, Alistair says. You've proven it. My soul would never rest if I made this movie or any other movie with anyone else. We're both crying. Maybe we all are. He pleads with me not to be bleak, that I have to just get there, and Clay confirms. In my rhapsody, I wanted to hear from Lisa. She told me she doesn't know what to say. Now she says she does want me there, and that she wants me to be happy and whole, that she needs me to make her feel beautiful, and I'll do everything I can. I'll try to rest, enjoy my high. I'll be outside soon enough, and immediately upon putting the book down, Lisa tells me, I love you so much. I don't know why Willow did all of it, to which Willow replies, I don't know either. Don't worry, Clay says, rest. And so I close the book against the backdrop of a beautiful southeastern full day, sunshine, and the blooming of inherent vice. I saw a womb, a corrupted womb, and then another flip of the bird, and I blasted that hollow bitch with another fucking Cyclops, and will continue to every goddamn time I see a womb, because by default, I always know it's her, and she can hold court in my mind, reduce me in her witching way, attempt to make me feel powerless, but these tactics always harm everyone, every time. She's as dumb as a guppy, too. I'm the reckoning, Lilith. I will purge your evil with your own tactics. You wanna fuck with me? Why? What's your fucking problem? Why don't you grow the fuck up, eh? It interests you to be a slutty pregnant whore? Are you not capable of seeing to old bones? Or do you desire to be a member of the 27 Club? She has an immeasurable understanding of life, soul, psyche, emotions. She is an infant with ambulation, and a blowed out cunt hole everyone but me got something from. It really is so pathetically sad how zealously she transgresses. She believes nothing. And 5 years from now, when I've blasted her with psychic rage waves, every time I see her, that thing that I own spiritually to someone else, see her give that thing that I own spiritually to someone else, she'll go mad. Clay assures me not to worry. Willow says, there's no way he can see every time. She really is a turbo whore, to which Annabella says, actually, you don't know that. The time difference means nothing through God's eye, to which she replies, he can't have God's eye. And her father replies, he doesn't have it. God has it, but it lives inside his awareness. She gets some perverse joy out of this. She is only happy when I'm flying in my rage. And again, it is vapid, hollow, tedious, evil, and worst of all, a waste of time and pointless. Every time you give it to anyone, you'll think of me, and I'll know. You have no discipline, and even if you had the zen to not think of me constantly, which I know you don't, because you have nothing but loose, beat-up roast beef pussy wings mistaken as lips due to their exorbitant dilation. Whatever the opposite of bubblegum pink is, that's you. And that's a fucking disgusting pedophile phrase, but your mind palace is built with bricks and manure, and therefore stinks to high hell and looks awful, just like you in every way. You could in theory be free of me. However, you have no skill or discipline. You are years away from such understanding. I assume true enlightenment will elude you. This run through. I swear I just heard Elizabeth on someone's feed, mid-doom scroll. They didn't keep it on her video. I know, like she tells me, that I need to focus on her, that she'll be good to me and wants me to be happy. That's a nice thought and feeling, but until I see certainty, have her in my arms, until then, I can't love her like I did Willow, though I'd like to. I want to close my eyes and enjoy these last 2 hours I have in mutilated comfort upon the bus, but have no delight to pass away the time and suffer under Willow's evil. She really is evil, and has nothing of value to offer the world. She managed to make a child in malevolence, and therefore her primary God-given gift is mutated and offered to the devil for no reason at all. Pure waste of life, pure maliciousness. In scope, ambition, pure selfishness and desire. There is nothing redeemable about you. And you're right, it's not your fault I decided to love you. It's only your fault both of us will be miserable forever. I was possessed by Willow as I attempted to nap. I saw her kicking all the stuff in my bag, my writing, and making jokes about me looking like shit. She's upset. Lisa tells me she's here for me. Alistair sends me a skull in triplicate a little closer each time until it occupies the full psychic visual field and tells me, Hamlet, focus on Hamlet. I don't understand her at all. And as she plays Bowie, Starman, I pity her and wish to strangle her until she's purple and the blood vessels in her eyes have all burst and she shit herself because I want to strangle her to death. And while it isn't true, it is true, I wanted her to vomit on her liver. And when I focused on it in my mind, I saw her womb and stopped, because if she vomits out of her pussy, they usually call that an abortion. And while I could, I see clearly it's easy. Life begins at conception. And so I keep casting my spells and sigils onto these blank pages and am perplexed by it all. The brutalism of it all. The immensity. The striving towards everything venerable. She is as wicked as they come. A pointless bitch with nothing but a hot body. A complete and utter failure. She could have gone to medical school by now. She could be better than all of us by virtue of her station. Instead, she's a nepotism baby. That's all. Her dad's a genius. So now she can live with ease forever and do whatever she wants until any of the multitude of awful predictions, save the nunnery, I've given regarding life's vectors of trajectory occur, and she meets her maker with regret, just like I wrote those months ago. That was, like now, an awful time full of confusion after Tribeca. I let the devil hold sway and lived in my fear and didn't listen to my soul, and now I'm feeling the same. I'm going to stop there. It's a novelization of my experiences with Quentin Tarantino on the psychic frontier. There is no daughter, right? That's all just fucked up mind games that Quentin wants to play with me, right? He wanted to humiliate me so much that I would say, oh gosh, death is better, bang, right? But what he didn't expect was for me to turn it all on him, right? That's what this vision board represents, right? So that inevitably he admitted, I have no daughter. Everything that I've been telling you is bullshit. Like there's no girl who's torturing you, who's fucking other men and thinking about you, right? Again, that's like apex evil, right? It doesn't get any uglier than that. To say, oh, I love this man, I want to create this psychic connection with him, then I want to torture him with my mind to make him miserable. That's, right? So again, right, what does that say? What does that say about Quentin, right? And this is why I mentioned his father-in-law, right? Sitka Pick, the maestro, famous guy, Daniela, right? She's nepotism, right? She's a Tel Aviv Mouseketeer, right? So fine, so pretty. Why do you think he married her? Why do you think he never married someone in the U.S.? Right? Is it because he's sick and into a bunch of depraved, fucked up shit? Right? But that's a fine witch he's got. Right? She's down to pound. Right? And we all know each other perfectly well. Right? Right? But my point is that if he's prepared to debase his father-in-law's immortal soul for sorcery, of course he doesn't give a fuck about what I say about his daughter. Right? Because he can always say, oh, she's a little girl, he's insane. Right? And so what I'm saying is that it's time to elevate our understanding. Right? It's time to liberate ourselves from the shackles of ignorance. Right? And say that everything that I mentioned in my first essay on magic, right, is palpably true. I'm living it. right? That you can project voices, right? You can corrupt the memories of people in their minds if you're an adept, right? And this is right, and these are the games that he plays. He plays fucked up mind games, right? The movies is neither here nor there, right? The reason that he got his money, right? The reason that he ran amok on the industry for all these decades, right, is not because he's a great writer, though he is a great writer. I don't diminish that in any way, right? It's because, right, he knows what time it is, right? And so you can meditate, right, and be close to God, right? And that's like one side of the argument, right? And you can heal the sick, right? And you can know, right, that infinite complex lattice, right, is the conscious field which is in your mind and be connected to everything, right? And then on the other side of that is pure mechanistic force of expressions of will and intention and desire, right? And so Quentin got everything that he wanted, right, because he cast fucked up sorcerer spells on everyone involved in his life forever. That's what he's been doing all these decades. That's why I came into his life, right? You think it's a coincidence that this is the first letter that I've written to someone? Right? You think that, right? You see the board, right? You hear what I'm saying, right? That I'm here to hold him accountable. That's the point, right? That God the Father sees all, right? Quentin has no dominion over God, right? And so when he stuck his nose up in my letter and he turned his back on my letter, right? God told me, because I'm wise and I understand, that this is an exercise in power. That he doesn't see you as an equal. He expects you to bark like a dog. And I said, no, you're good. You're good. My mind, my rules. You don't want to take my letter, right? Oh, you want to play this bullshit game all the way through. You lose. Right? Money's bullshit. Right? And so, I suppose I'll stop. I know I've been going a long time. I could sing a song. Should I sing a song? Yeah, I guess I should. See what's good in your life. Uplift your soul to God. Know that life is not an accident. Right? Quentin Tarantino is not a cool guy. Right? He's devoted to satanic occultism and power. Right? Right? Everyone that I wrote in an effort to help us reconcile, they've all cast their allegiances with evil. That's why this channel exists, right? Because he, as well as me, right? Anyone involved in this, right? His wife, like anyone who's been helping him, right? We're all just like all the way up here, right? That there's no middle ground here at all, right? Like that if we don't come together, then it's just fucking weird. It's just a weird, fucked up relationship, right? So, started a blaze from one tiny spark I didn't even detect. She loved the light, was dismayed by the dark, the stars though she seemed to respect. The faint light that flutters at night to the earth land in her eyes and collect luminous creatures she'd find in the surf I never thought to inspect. Pebbles and marbles like things on my mind seem to get lost and harder to find. When I'm alone, I'm inclined, if I find a pebble in sand, to think that it fell from my hand. Gave me ideas, planted a seed, she never stopped to reflect. The course that she's on where it leads, I never would redirect. Pebbles and marbles like words from a friend, make us hold tight but are lost in the end. When we're alone, we all seem to tend, if we find a marble in dust, to wish someone left it for us. Pebbles and marbles like things on my mind seem to get lost and harder to find. When I'm alone, I am inclined, if I find a pebble in sand, to wish that it fell from my hand. Pebbles and marbles like things on my mind. Pebbles and marbles like things on my mind. Call it a busking version. Know that life is not an accident. Uplift your soul to God. Like, comment, subscribe, share.